Welcome to the Thin Blue Line Outdoors. My name is Cody Johnson, and I'll be your host.
I'm one happy hunter right now, man. Alright guys, here she is.
Here at the Thin Blue Line Outdoors, we have 3 goals. Show you a good time,
I just shot him.
teach you something, plant some clover down, and lead by example.
It's looking good. Great though, congratulations. Thank you, sir.
If I can accomplish one of those 3, that's a win in my book. Thanks for listening. Be safe out there. Alright everyone, this is episode 5 of the Thin Blue Line Outdoors podcast. Today I'm going to recap kind of how my turkey season went so far. We finished first season and second season here in Illinois now. Today was the last day of second season. Technically I could still be out there hunting, but I work tonight and I'm going to try to get a nap in before work. So this is kind of the way it is, but yeah. So anyway, I'm going to shoot this podcast outside. Got my dog here out there with me, but nice weather, so I decided might as well be outside and shoot it outside. So anyway, break it down to you. I only hunted 2 days during the first season here in Illinois. Hunted with my brother-in-law, Garrett. He's a local police officer here in Fulton County. Yeah, real good guy. He pretty big hunter when it comes to deer and waterfowl, but he's just getting into turkey hunting. This was his first time going out this year. He went out 3 times. First day by himself, second day with me. First day he heard just a I think a gobble is what he told me. Second day we go out there, we heard a few more. We're hunting his family's property, so because we're hunting his family's property, I think there's only 40 acres there, so we don't have a lot of acreage to work with. But him and I both agreed it would be super cool if he could kill his first turkey on his family's ground. Unfortunately, none of the turkeys ever came onto his family's ground. We tried, but tried to call them in, but they just never would leave the neighbors for both days. Pretty much we got as close as we could. Had a pretty good setup, I felt like. It never worked out, unfortunately. So yeah, that pretty much ended my my 2 days hunting with my brother-in-law. He unfortunately wasn't able to go out the last couple days of the first season because he worked as well. Then second season started. Second season I hunted first day. Got pretty close to a gobbler. He was on the neighbors though the whole time. I bet I was within 200 yards of him if I had to guess. Just never could. He never came onto the property. Unfortunately, it just kind of is what it is. But my grandpa, he actually called in 4 gobblers though. So 4 tom turkeys. Called him in, got him within range, and he missed. And I talked to him about it. He doesn't know what exactly happened on there. He just missed. But it's kind of hard to believe he called in 4 toms. He said that not one was a jake. They were all toms. So happens. Went out there the second day of season. I couldn't go. My grandpa and my brother went. They had toms close to them. Never got a chance though. If I remember right, day 3 though, my dad, he goes out there. He hunts the same way my grandpa hunts. They set up a ground blind and they sit there all season long. They never leave that spot. They sit there all season long. Guess what? It works. He was telling me, gets out there super early, sets his decoys out, goes back in the ground blind. He actually fell asleep. Wakes up to hearing his decoy getting attacked. Looks up, there's a big tom turkey just annihilating his decoy. So he pulls his gun up, shoots it. It's a real nice tom. Yeah, he ends up bringing it here. We got some really good pictures with my daughter and him. I know he always likes showing off his animals to her, and she always likes seeing them. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see that, and that was the first thing. Ruby and I had just woke up that morning. That was the first thing we saw was Grandpa with his turkey. So that was a good way to start the morning. And it was either the next day or the day after that. I think it was the day. It might have been the next day. It was real snowy. It actually did snow on Grandpa and I. Come out here hunting the farm. We got 1 gobbler that I know exactly what tree he's in. There's on the south end of our property. There's just one tree or a couple trees that they're always roosted in every time. And last year I hunted, these two toms would stay in that roost tree every day, and I hunted them, trying to get them, and they always would go to the neighbors. So this time, last year I tried to make a stalk on them, didn't work out. This year what I did is I did the same thing. I walked the fence line so I couldn't go any more to the south. I was on the line. So I would stay as close as I could to that fence line. Got to where the turkey is somewhat in between of my grandpa and I. It's still kind of out ahead of me a little bit, and my grandpa is more behind me. But it's kind of the setup I decided to do. So anyway, the turkey comes down. He's answering my calls, but he's working away from me. So I'm like, I'm going to move closer. I'm going to get up there 20, 30 yards. So that's what I did. What I did not know is that Tom had hens with him. The hens were being dead quiet. He actually had 3 hens with him. I ended up spooking them. They flew down towards my grandpa, actually. And actually, it worked out perfectly. I wish I could tell you I had this plan, but I did not. They fly down. They go into the field my grandpa set up in and run right towards my grandpa. And I knew that Tom's not going to leave those hens. That Tom is right here. So I'm just pulling up with my gun, waiting. Sure enough, I hear like the distress cluck is what I call it. I'm not for sure if there's a name for it. But they make a certain cluck noise when they're spooked. Sure enough, I hear that, and that turkey is about 70, 80 yards, maybe even 90, working his way from me. So too far for a shot. I get pretty good video of him walking away from me. I see him enter the field. I see him start going towards my grandpa, and that's where I lose sight of him. I turn the camera around and say, man, I think my grandpa's going to get a shot. Shut the camera off. Less than a minute later, pop! He nailed it. So it worked out perfectly. It's almost like a turkey drive. Didn't mean for it to happen at all, but that's how it worked out. We were done. We were back here at the house at 7, I think. There was no other turkeys gobbling. It started snowing on us pretty good, and I had some stuff I needed to do around the house anyway. So it was a good morning. I got some good pictures of my grandpa with this turkey, and I'm telling you, my grandpa, he's a turkey killing son of a gun. He always kills at least 1 turkey a year, if not more. And I like jumping around, trying new spots, kind of chasing the turkeys down. My grandpa and dad, they know where the turkeys like to go, and they'll just sit there all season long, and it works for them. They kill turkeys, so that's just another tactic. Again, I like moving around. It's fun. It's fun for me because that way it makes it unlike deer hunting where I just usually sit in one spot. It's just a lot of fun. But if you have the patience, sitting in one spot like they do, like I said, they kill turkey, and they kill nice turkeys. So something to think about if you are turkey hunting. And then the last 2 days of my season have been very fun, but at the same time aggravating. So yesterday I go out to a farm here in Fulton County that I have permission on. I have at least 2 birds gobbling. I think I counted either 3 or 4 though in the morning. And so one's up on to the east side of the property, the other one's on the west side of the property. So I decide, and probably 400 to 500 yards apart if I had to guess the turkeys are. So I sit smack dab in the middle of them because there is a cornfield or bean field, I guess it was last year, right in between them. So I'm like, this is perfect. I'll set up right in between them. Hopefully one of the group of birds, if not both, will come into the field to strut around, to feed, and there I'll be waiting for them. So I sit there. Morning comes. The birds to the east of me shut up. They don't keep talking at all. The gobbler to the west of me though keeps gobbling quite a bit. Carrying off, and he gets probably a couple hundred yards from me at one point in time. But I can tell he's up on a ridge and he doesn't want to come down. So I'm like, okay, well, if he ain't gonna come to me, I'm gonna go to him. So I start climbing this ridge, and I mean, the incline to this is not straight up and down, but fairly close. So I'm climbing up the ridge. I get to where it starts leveling off a little bit. Well, then I knew I was coming close to the property line. And sure enough, I get there. The turkey's on top of the hill. I can hear him walking. He's so close to me. I can hear him walking and gobbling. He had to be at 50 yards. That's just my guess, but he had to be at 50 yards. But the problem is he's up at the top of the hill. The property line is probably 20, 30 yards down the hill towards me, and I'm 20, 30 yards, maybe 10, 20 yards on the other side of it. So he's just right out of eyesight. That's all he is. And honestly, I was on my knees trying to stay low. If I stood up, I wouldn't be surprised if I could have saw him, but I didn't want to risk spooking him. And I don't know, I was within at least 10 minutes. We were at that range. The only reason I know that is because of the video camera. So he ends up moving off. I'm not for sure if I spooked him. While he was gobbling, he ends up getting 2 other turkeys fired up. And they were slowly coming that way, so I don't know if he didn't like that or what. So he ends up shutting up. I end up hunting the rest of the day. Heard a couple more gobbles, but nothing close, and never did get another chance to kill a turkey. Today, I was even closer. I made a error in my part that I think that's why I didn't kill the turkey today. So anyway, I go up on this ridge that I know the turkeys like to roost. Sure enough, I got 2 turkeys gobbling fairly close, and I got another turkey gobbling quite a ways away. They fly off the roost. They kind of shut up for a while like they normally do. They start getting fired back up though, and they're gobbling. And the way I set up on this ridge is there's not a lot of vegetation on this. It was a east-facing slope, and there's just not a lot of vegetation yet. So up on this ridge, I find a tree that's about as wide as my shoulders. Not super big, but I would say as wide as my shoulders. I sit against it, set my decoys out, and there was a bigger tree in front of me. I thought about moving to it. But when they were on the roost, I was worried because it was kind of opening. I didn't want them to see me, so I didn't do that. Well, looking back, that may have been my mistake. So I should have moved to that tree, and if I did, I would have killed a turkey. Or I'll carry on here in a second. But I ended up calling this turkey in. This turkey pops up in front of me at 70 yards. My max effective range with my gun that I've tested it out is at 50 yards. With the choke I have now and the gun and the shells I use, 50 yards is what I feel comfortable with. I get it. It only takes 1 BB. I know I've seen people who can make 70-yard turkey shots, but they've also usually have a gun that's all they use it for is turkey hunting. You know, they go out and buy a real nice choke. They pattern it, and that's good. I'm happy for them. I like almost all my game animals, I want them in my lap. I want them as close as I can get. That's what makes it fun. So that's the turkey came in at 70 yards. He saw the decoys. I don't think he minded the decoys. I'm pretty sure he saw me. I think that's what did it. He ended up seeing me. It is what it is. He ends up spooking off. I was going to hop down the ridge and try to sneak up, and then he really either heard me or saw me, and he made a couple of those clucks, the distress cuts as I was talking about earlier. He ends up working away from me. Another error that I think maybe, even if I didn't switch trees, which I think that was the main thing I should have done. If I switched trees, I think I would have killed that turkey. I just needed to be 20, 30 yards farther or closer to where that turkey popped out at. But what I should have done is I have a pop-up camouflage little blind thing that I always take with me. It just pops up when you sit down. It's perfect. You can only see like my head. I should have just had that. That would have given me more cover. Or the fact that it has been so cold, like today, I think right now it's like 56. So it's this morning it was probably high 30s if I had to guess, maybe low 40s. But I was wearing a fairly puffy jacket because it's warm and it's first light camouflage. It's good. But like I said, I did not have a lot of cover, and I normally wear my First Light Phantom leafy suit, and that has last year I could really test it, and that seemed like the turkeys really had a hard time noticing me or seeing me when I was wearing that. Unfortunately, I did not wear that today, so I think that might have helped me. If I was wearing that, that may have just gave me just enough cover, because I only needed him to go another 20 yards, and which he would have actually been out of my sight if he kept working down the ridge. I had it set up where he would have been in and out of my sight, so he would have had a hard time seeing me, and he just needed to pop around this one tree, and I would have had a perfect, probably 40-yard shot, which I feel completely comfortable with that. So yeah, that's kind of how my second season has went so far. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I'm looking forward to the next seasons. For third season, I'm going to be hunting with my brother Colton. He's still got a third season tag, so hopefully we can get him on a bird, and I can just focus on filming. It's a lot less stressful, and I still have quite a lot of fun, and it's a blast still. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I have a fourth season tag. I'll be hunting with a buddy of mine. I'll have to introduce you guys to him. I think you guys will like hunting with him. He's a good guy, and he's a fellow first responder. And then fifth season, again, I have a tag, and then so does Nate. Which, if you've listened to this podcast before, you would have met Nate on episode 3. He's pretty excited. We were talking about it yesterday. He's pretty excited to go. I'm excited to take him. His first time he's ever really went hunting before. I think it's going to be a blast. I think it might turn into more of a comedy video than it will hunting video. But I think it'll be fun. We may even have at times another guy with us. One of Nate's buddies who hunts. He might come and hang out with us and either help videotape or just help try to coach Nate through it. And then we got another guy who you may have seen on videos before, Steve. He may come with us and just film us as well. He's kind of newer to turkey hunting, but he deer hunts and stuff quite a bit. So yeah, I am looking forward to the rest of turkey season. You know, we're not even halfway through. We're just starting third season. We got 5 seasons here in Illinois, so we're just starting third season. The turkeys are still henned up for the most part. They're still being fairly quiet. It's been cold, but it's supposed to get to the 70s later on this week. I think the turkeys are going to get more fired up. They're going to start breeding hens, which means they're going to separate from hens. That means they're going to be more vocal, and they're going to be easier to call to, and it's going to be a blast. Like I said, last year, 4th and 5th season is where I had the most action, and I had a blast hunting, and I ended up killing my bird. So hopefully we can get everybody's tags filled. I know it might be hard, but either way, we'll be out there chasing them, having a good time.